Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday, the Success Day here on the podcast. And this week we have with us Ali Azl. Hey, Ali, welcome back.
Thank you. And thank you for welcoming me back for Thursday.
Absolutely. So Ali was just in prep saying that yesterday's episode is a great example of what success looks like for a Scrum Master. So go ahead and listen to it. But we will talk about success again today, maybe dissect that a little bit more. Let's see what Ali has for us. But before we dive into that, Ali, do share with us, what's your favorite retrospective format and why?
Sure. This is a format I use when I go to a new organization and I don't know the people. It's got different ways to. It's got different names, I guess. You can call it Mad, Sad, Glad, or the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I like the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly because it reminds me of a great movie. And everybody's seen that. Well, most people have seen the movie. I had someone a couple of weeks ago where they've not seen the movie. I was like, what? And then I realized that they're like 25 years old. So
yeah, as we get older, we start to look at movies that other people that we work with don't.
Yes, I had to like explain this like one of the greatest spaghetti Western movie
Spaghetti Western
ever made. Yeah, is go watch it. So the good, the bad, and the ugly, and then how we break it down. We look at the good stuff that's happening, the bad stuff that's happening, and the ugly stuff that we really want to change and we don't want happening. It's very simple. It's not a hard concept to get, and obviously the actions that come out of it. I've always had great success with this retrospective, and it's very light. All you need is 3 post-it notes to just put the good, the bad, and the ugly, and then obviously people will just...
So the simple formats are, of course, great to get us started. I do find very often that the simple formats become a little bit more challenging, especially with new teams, because they don't necessarily prompt people for a specific contribution, right? They are more like, in this case, for example, the good, the bad, and the ugly, they are more like generic questions, right? So yes. What tips do you have for us? Like when we go into a team and we present like a simple format like this, and the team feels perhaps a little bit rusty and that they are just like, flying around the surface and not really touching what's really going on. What are your tips for getting the team to dive into the format and to actually take the opportunity to share what's really bothering them?
Yeah, so this is actually a lot of Scrum Masters love retrospectives, but a lot of them get become repetitive, and they don't actually get. I mean, for me, the retrospective retrospective is one of the most powerful events in Scrum because you're getting the voice of the team. You're trying to give them, there's a safe environment for them to speak up and be honest as possible. So as a Scrum Master, this is where you have to ask probing questions. This is where you have to step up and actually notice in the room that someone's not writing anything or they're not talking or they're not saying anything. Is get them to, talking. Also, when they get up to put the post-it notes up, I get them to read it out so people can hear it, so people can check, ask and find out and probe themselves. So it's about making sure people are comfortable, people are talking, and you would have observed something as well throughout the week while you're working with the team. So why not bring your points? Obviously, you're a facilitator. So when I want to put a point myself, I say, are you okay for me to partake in this retrospective? Because I'm a facilitator. And if they say yes, then I put a post-it note up that it's a topic that to get them talking. You notice people are always late for the events. Be on time for events and put it up on the board and get them talking. And you might realize, one of them has a child that they have to take to school in the morning, so that's why they're late for those events. And say, okay, so what can we do about it? Let's support you too. to be able to
That's actually a good point, because very often people don't talk because they don't feel safe enough to talk about the stuff that is really bothering them. And I think that what you just said, like even perhaps a self-deprecating post-it on the wall can actually contribute immensely to this. Like, for example, the Scrum Master should pay more attention to what people are saying in the daily. And you don't even need to believe that that's true, but if you put it there, now you have the opportunity to hear what the people say, right? Yes. And maybe the team will say, we don't have that impression.
Yeah.
Or they might say, yeah, that's absolutely true. Like when I shared that blah, 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 and you paid no attention and you asked the same question again, right? And now we are putting ourselves on the line, hopefully in a way that we feel safe, because we shouldn't, jump from the cliff willingly, at least. But it also gives people the permission to talk about stuff that affects them personally, or something they have to say about us too.
Yes, there's also this. I'm sure you've seen it. Prime Directive of a retrospective, which if people haven't,
I'll put the link on the show notes. Yeah.
Yes. Regardless of what we discover, we understand and truly believe that everyone. I'm reading, by the way, that everyone did the best job they could, given what they knew at the time, their skills and abilities, the resource available, and the situation at hand. So this makes everything, everybody on the same ground, same level.
Yeah, and in fact, even for the first retrospectives, it might be worth it to put it up on the wall and read it.
100%. And people, it's a bit of a team agreement, right? In the retro, you have people in the room agree that this is, we know you did your best. Nobody was cheating.
This is a safe space.
It is a safe space. Please feel free.
Ali, this is a safe space to talk about success and what it means for you as a Scrum Master. Yes. That's our next question. So share with us, what's success for you as a Scrum Master?
So I've hinted before, but one of the things that I try and do is I try and get the team to do as much of their own things as possible. Because for me, a good team looks like a team that can self-organize, they can self-manage. Sometimes I don't turn up to an event and I observe from far away to see if the team gets up. They do their, do they wait for the Scrum Master before they start doing things? Or can they, is it like a teacher-student relationship, or everybody is a student, or everybody is equal? Everybody's a teacher, I guess, in a way. So people, and then, because I don't want to be your Scrum Master forever. I want to move away. I want you to be successful and then move back and then let you do your thing. I can still be around. You can still come and approach me and ask me for help and support, but I want you to go and unblock yourself. So, I want you.
Tell us a little bit more about the behaviors that you're looking for. So you already shared one, right? Like step away from the daily as an example and see if the team has the daily without you being there. But what other things do you look for? What are the signs that the team is able to self-organize and self-manage?
So I'll give an example. So when I see somebody approaching a team member and talking to them, asking them for things to be done, do they just put it in the backlog and then work on it? Or do they actually send the person to the product owner and then negotiate, talk to the product owner and explain? And how do they get together and how do they discuss the coming work? They don't just go and do something without actually working with the team. And we have a sprint goal. The team is focused on delivering that sprint goal. It's how they basically self-manage and self-organize themselves. To me, and the key thing is value. Are they thinking about value? Everything they do, does this add value to the product, to the team, to me individually? It's for me the key word here is value. And of course, for me, a good team doesn't need me as much, but is not afraid to ask for help. And that's when I know that I'm working with a great team, because they're still vulnerable and they know they know when they need help, and they work really well with the product owners, with the Scrum Masters, and with other teams. They support other teams without impacting their sprint goal. And their work at the same time.
Absolutely. Actually, that's a very good point. What you just said is that a great self-managing and self-organizing team is not only internally self-managing and self-organizing, but they are also able to interact with external parties, whether it be other teams, stakeholders, customers. They solve their own problems when it comes to, for example, getting customer feedback. Not all teams are able to do that. And in fact, no matter how much the Scrum Master might want to help the team, the fact is that it's only when the team really wants to get feedback that they are even going to pay attention to it. So that initiative, the initiative of collecting feedback, be it stakeholders or customers, is actually a great sign of maturity for a team.
Yes, 100%. It's amazing when you see a great team. I'll give you one. The more successful team I've ever worked with. We were put together ad hoc. We didn't know each other. We just started working together, and it was amazing. It's like everybody. Sometimes when you go to an organization and everything works, it's almost like they put this like A team together, and then just people just got along. We just knew what we need to do. Everybody collaborated well. Everybody worked. We broke down the stories. We story pointed well. We estimated well. I mean, obviously, I'm not a big fan of story points myself personally, but I like. I'm a fan of no estimation. #no estimation. But that's a different story. But for this team, it worked really well. And what was in a traditional way, they told us we have 9 months to deliver this product. We did it in 5. Because we just understood where the value is. We were focused on the most valuable area, and what we delivered was enough for the company to go live with it, and they didn't even care about the other
595 new features that people wanted but were not really needed.
And the saddest thing was they rewarded the team by splitting them up, because they said, your team is so good, we want you to give this knowledge to all the other teams in the organization. So they split them up. It's like, this is the greatest team I've ever worked in.
It's like rewarding a football coach for coming in and sending away the best players. It's like, what?
Yeah, why would you do that?
That's a funny story. Yeah. Ali, thank you very much for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
Part of a successful Scrum Master job is to help the product owner. Tomorrow we explore that critical role in Scrum, the product owner role. Tune in to learn about product owner anti-patterns, what you can do to help the product owner, and a real-life example of what a great product owner is and what made it so. Tomorrow on our Friday Product Owner episode. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.